everyone, it's Emily, and it is, what is it, May 4th today? And I thought it was time to do a garden tour. And if you look back in my archived videos, my past videos, where I've done garden tours, you'll notice that the garden tours, I've done them like 1, maybe 2 months, and then the rest of the summer, boom, no other garden tours. And the reason is that I have been, I don't know, embarrassed, ashamed. But what happens here is that if you don't actively spray fungicides on everything, almost everything will get a fungus of some sort or other. And I haven't been spraying anything. I've been trying to be, totally not even, organic sprays are actually the worst. Because number one, they don't work. Number two, they kill beneficial insects. So, but when I rebooted this channel a couple of weeks ago, I did it with the intention of, I changed the title to My Southern Gardening Journey because this is a journey. I wanted to share my journey, and a journey is not Instagram perfect. That was one of the things. I looked at all these other people's gardening channels, and I saw how perfect, no weeds, perfect beds, perfect everything, tons of produce and no disease at all. And yeah, I finally realized, you know what, Em? Everybody mostly shows the best side, and if there's not an awesomely cool side, they don't show it. So, when you watch gardening videos, you're seeing the absolute best. You're not seeing the plants that they had to pull out because they were sick. You're not seeing the entire, maybe crop that they destroyed because it wasn't producing well or whatever. People are very fake on social media and YouTube. And I decided in my heart of hearts, and this is really what I've always wanted to do, and I just finally garnered the bravery to do it, I guess. I want to teach what I've learned, but I also just want to share the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I am committing to around the first week of every month, assuming, things are going well. I mean, other things, like it doesn't rain every day, all day for a week or something. But I'm planning to do a garden tour once a month, say maybe through September, at least August. Probably September, maybe even later. I don't know. Maybe every month I'll start doing it. I don't know. But anyway, no matter what happens, and I will explain to you what happened and why, and how I'll try to make better next year, if there are problems. Like I already have anthracnose on my marigolds. I'm not sure why. They did get I transplanted them way too late. They got stressed out in the little pots. But there's also anthracnose all over this garden. I need to figure out what to do about it. All right, so that long preface over with, here we go. All right, so here, let me show you these two. I decided to elongate these beds, and this gives me a good bit more of gardening space. So from this post over there, it's about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So maybe 7 to 8 feet here, and 6 feet here, and 3 feet wide. So that's a good bit of extra gardening space. I had my son pile up mulch. I put down some mulch. My son piled up wood chips. It's actually gone down. It's composting. It's gone down quite a bit. But I really want to amend the soil first before I plant anything. That's why there's nothing in here, in these parts of the beds this year. There's also another area that I'm building up the soil in before I start. All right, so yeah, you saw my first tomatoes, marigolds. There's the one nasturtium I got to germinate out of the 12 seeds that I planted. I don't know what happened there. But we'll see what happens. You saw you may have seen in an earlier video. Wow, I have some peas I need to pick, dude, don't I? Yeah, lots of peas coming off the ones that I started in pots now. Yeah. All right. And a thyme and a dandelion I need to take out. Unfortunately, I'm having to take out all the dandelion because I've got powdery mildew that I do not want spreading to other people like cucumbers. Well, and the peas too, right? It's right in with the peas, which are susceptible to powdery mildew. This is my healthiest looking marigold here, but it's developing spots too. So the tomatoes are all Eva Purple Ball. They're determinate, kind of like the size of golf balls. Because I tried my cherry tomato seeds, they were ones that I had saved, and I had them, I think I had them in the freezer. Anyway, only one of them ever germinated, and I'll get to that in a bit. So I'm going to have, probably not nearly as many tomatoes as usual because the Eva Purple Balls are determinate. They don't last as long. But anyway, so here's a look at this first bed so far. Now the second bed, I've got kale growing. It's covered with a PVC and beetle netting cage to keep off the pests. And I'll have a video coming up soon where I talk about planting cowpeas. I planted some cowpeas to share with the peppers. I do have, so I've got peppers, 1 or 2 peppers at each of these posts. And, oh yay, that one's looking better. Okay. I hadn't been watering. You can't overwater pepper. You know, peppers are just so picky, especially when they're little. When they get bigger, yeah, don't have to worry about missing watering so much. But when they're little, it's like you can't water them too much, but you can't not water them either. So I had a couple that looked like they were drying up, but they look okay now. So that's that bit. And I have another thyme there. I have a couple broccoli I was going to try to grow broccoli and cabbage, and they just weren't doing well, so I took out most of them. Those 2 just came back. They're stubborn. I haven't been watering them or anything. All right, so here's those 2 beds, are long beds, and I've got trellising here, so I can tie the tomatoes to the trellising, and I've got posts, so I can tie the peppers up to the posts on this one. All right, in the corners, I've got potatoes. I don't think I buried the potatoes in the wood chips deeply enough, so I'm not sure how much of a harvest we'll get. It was cold it was March and it was cold, and I didn't want to dig down in that cold. I was too lazy to get a shovel or a spade or whatever. Anyway, we'll look at the other pot later on. All right, right now this is my junk bed. I'm going to be planting something in this eventually, but I think it's a little bit too late now, since it's already May, to start anything. So I'll probably just keep piling up mulch and amending the soil like that. Disappointed with the carrots. Look at all that blank space. I should have twice as many carrots growing, at least. But we'll have a few. We'll see. All right. So this is the other area here. I'm amending the soil, this bed, for future use. So right now there's just a few weeds. Let's go this way. So there's the garden entrance. The asparagus beds. Need to pick some. Need to eat some asparagus tonight. Yep, they are ready to be picked. Look at that. These are getting tall. And that guy over there. One of them's about to go to seed. Alright, so in this bed here where I used to have blackberries, you see little holes in the straw. That's where this is where I planted most of the cowpeas. And I've got a few marigolds to try to discourage moles, and also a couple of oregano. Just because I want oregano and thyme kind of growing everywhere to discourage pests. So there's more asparagus growing down here. And I've started some asparagus from seed. So I've got a bunch of baby asparagus growing. So they're my Egyptian walking onions. They're going to seed. See, they're starting to produce the seed heads. All right. So this bed is now in its 3rd year, I think. I can harvest whatever I want now from this asparagus bed. It does have one new seedling because the one I planted a couple years ago didn't take. And none of the ones I planted here, and I'll explain that in a future video, didn't take. I'll explain why in a future video when I talk about asparagus. But they seem to be doing okay now. Alright, and there's the melon, which I forgot to water. I should have watered it this morning. But we're supposed to have rain tonight, so maybe it's okay. But this is the melon. I have a video on transplanting this Valencia melon. It's a type of honeydew. Alright, so it's a view of all the asparagus. Get the rebar out of all the asparagus down there. And then there's where the cowpeas are. Alright, and next to me is a big, gigantic pile of mulch. Underneath the mulch are sweet potatoes. It takes sweet potato vines quite a while to emerge from a 12-inch high pile of mulch. So, yeah, they're not peeking out yet. All right, these are the 2 SIP beds, sub-irrigation planters. They're basically like giant self-watering containers. And they are mostly on break this year because the soil level has gone down so far. So I'm letting the wood chips decompose some more so the soil level will go up a bit. Beautiful kale that I planted last fall. Gone to seed. It's still good to eat. I'm still harvesting. We're still eating. After the kale goes bye-bye in a month or 2, though, I'm gonna take them all out and rest the bed. It gets to be fallow this year. All right, next bed. It has hoops for 2 reasons. First of all, I can cover it, like if it's going to get really cold, we can cover it with plastic, or we can cover it with beetle netting if we want to keep insects out. Also, it serves as a structure for supporting plants. So when the tomatoes get high enough, that's mainly what I have in here. This year, tomatoes get high enough, I can tie string to the top and hold up the tomatoes. I've got a couple of oregano. I've got a marigold and a lone kale here because I didn't have anywhere else to put it. So I stuck it here. That's another oregano. And something already got to this tomato. A grasshopper I would imagine, but I didn't realize they liked tomatoes that much. That was a very small plant, and I'm hoping it'll come back. But again, these are all Eva Purple Ball. It's the only one I could get to germinate. Okay, let me back up a little. So here's another bed. And these cages are usually for tomatoes, but I'm rotating crops. All right, all the holes in this mulch are dill seeds. There's an oregano over there. There's my cucumber. There's a bigger oregano and more dill seeds. Volunteer cilantro. I never have to plant cilantro because there are 2 or 3 places in the garden where they just, they seed and they keep coming back. So, it's nice. All right. So here's a view so far. It's the kale. And then All right, here's our mini hoop house. This actually has a frame that you open. It's hard to do with one hand though. But I tossed in a bunch of lettuce seeds, well, green seeds, not just lettuce. There's arugula, I think there's some carrots too, and different herbs. I'll explain that probably in another video. I'm going really long now, but yeah. Okay, I'll just tell you. I was going to grow microgreens. And then I found out I don't tolerate microgreens. They taste nasty and they make me sick to my stomach. So I had some seeds left over when I was mixing all these seeds together to grow them as microgreens. And I just said, okay, I'm just going to throw them on top of this mulch and water it and see what happens. Look what happened. They germinated. So this here is Swiss chard that obviously needs to be thinned out. They're big enough to be thin. Sorry, the shade cloth got in the way there. All right. So this SIP bed has 2 pole beans, one in each corner. This one there, and this is the pole that I've got for it to climb up. And then over here, this one leaf died. I don't know why, but it's growing new leaves, so I'm not worried about it. So it's got this pole to climb up. Alrighty. Oh, I forgot to put the, I'm breeding mosquitoes. When did I don't even remember using this I did use it this morning. Okay. Okay. Bad girl. Here's the other big bag bed of potatoes. Big bag bed. So this, yeah, that's a big bag bed. Anyway. So yeah, by the way, these are both all just full of mulch. They're wood chips. Full of wood chips and planted potatoes inside. So again, we'll see how it goes. Alright. So here's a view of the high raised beds from the hoop house. That's where the cucumber is, and that all the way down. And am I forgetting anything? I didn't think so. Nope, I don't think so. Alright, well, that is my May 2023 garden tour. We'll see how everything goes. I did have a rattlesnake bean planted here, and I know I saw the sprout coming up, and then it died. So, not having rattlesnake bean, I guess. I may plant another one. I can't decide whether to do that or not. Alright. Anyway, if you enjoyed this tour, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. And you can comment below and tell me what you're doing in your garden this month. Subscribe if you want to hear lots of vegetable gardening tips. And I'll see you for the next video. In the meantime, take care and happy gardening.